is at record highs. That's why ABC7,
the Washington football team, and Safeway Foundation are on your side to help kick hunger.
During March, donate to the Capital Area Food Bank at area Safeway stores.
Together, let's kick hunger.
Welcome to One TV. Beth, how are you? And how are you doing, Austin?
Hi, Miss Denise. How are you doing? Hi, Beth.
Hi there, guys.
We're getting a little bad feedback there. I don't know what's going on. Something happened. I tell you, technology is. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Does it sound garbled?
You're clear on my end.
I can hear you both, but we're all sounding a little bit like trolls.
Yeah. All right. What I'd like to do, since it's on. Oh, Austin? What I'd like to do, since I'm getting a little feedback on my end, Beth, can we just start with you? Because I think you're good, and I'll just put myself on mute. Because this is the fourth year, it just went away. This is the fourth year that Safeway has led the Kick Hunger campaign. And I know last year was right before the pandemic, and things have changed so much. Can you tell us, how you all, have gotten through that period, and what's going to be different with the campaign this year?
Well, for one thing, last year, recognizing that the pandemic not only had devastating health effects, but also devastating effects on the economy, at Safeway, we realized that hunger was going to become more and more of an issue. And so throughout the year, we actually focused all of our fundraising and grant giving campaigns on hunger relief. And during 2020, we gave, I believe, more than $3.6 million in grants to help area organizations work towards relieving hunger in our local communities. In terms of the Kick Hunger campaign, you're right, we did hold it last March when all of the COVID-19 effects began to affect us in the United States. And we did raise about over $460,000 last year, which was really wonderful. Over the last 3 years, we've raised, I believe, over $1.1 million through the Kick Hunger campaign. And this year, we are certainly hoping to raise even more to support the Capital Area Food Bank here in DC. Up in the Baltimore area, we also fundraise at the same time on behalf of the Maryland Food Bank. But this year, the campaign will be the same. What has changed is the need. The need has become so much greater, and I'll let Austin talk more about that. But in terms of this year's campaign, we're so delighted that Washington Informer is one of our partners again. If it's okay for me to mention some of our other partners that are supporting this year's campaign, we also have the Washington football team, ABC7, El Tiempo Latino newspaper, and then 5 Entercom radio stations, El Zol Radio, WPGC, The Drive, The Fan, and The Team. I got them all. They're all supporting us this year. Everybody's running television, PSAs, radio spots. You guys are running newspaper ads to help promote the campaign and really spread the word. So thank you to all our partners.
Well, I think it's good to know that there's a widespread community response to the situation, which is still, while we're seeing the numbers go down with regards to infections and hopefully deaths in some places, the hunger, the need for food has not gone away. And Austin, I think you know that better than anyone, and maybe you can share what you've experienced.
Absolutely, and thanks for having us, and thank you, Beth, for your partnership. So you all know that hunger was a big problem even before the pandemic, and almost a year since COVID-19 has entered our region, things have just gotten dramatically worse. We were at a point where approximately 400,000 of our neighbors were unsure of where to get their next meal. And now that number has grown to nearly 600,000, which is almost double in the span of a year. These numbers are already unacceptable, and the growth we've seen has just been staggering.
We have gremlins in this connection, and it sounds like it might be coming your way. Oh, okay. I'm hoping that she'll come back in because the gremlins took over our broadcast here, Beth. But I'd still like to know a little bit more about, the Capital Area Food Bank actually is a distribution arm for food. And how do you determine, what folks need and what food you'll distribute or make available, what dollars? I mean, do people have to apply, or how do they become a part of this?
Well, Austin can better answer some of those specific questions, but what I can tell you is that we're raising funds to provide the food bank with additional food. So they will be receiving a large grant from us. It'll be a financial donation, which they will be able to use to fund and help stock their shelves. And we're very proud to be a partner with them. We have been a partner with the Capital Area Food for many years. And Kick Hunger is not the only campaign that we hold. Throughout the year, we do hold other campaigns and have aligned our campaigns with our company's Nourishing Neighbors initiative, which has really given our company the opportunity to put a major focus on hunger relief. We do still support some other causes. We support our local schools every year with our School Spirit campaign. We have a cancer research fundraiser and a veterans fundraiser. We raise money for people living with physical and intellectual disabilities, but hunger is really the greatest need that we address at our company. And
this,
go ahead.
I was just going to say that this, because you've been doing this now, this is the 4th year, so we didn't have COVID before. But,
Right.
What sparked or what made you all decide early on that this was an initiative? I mean, it makes sense for,
We sell food.
for who you are. Right. It does make sense. But still, I mean, we have a lot of food businesses, grocery businesses in the DC region. We love, Safeway's what used to be our hometown grocery store. So, I mean, we all grew up with Safeway around here. But what was it that initiated the need to launch this 4 years ago?
Well, we have been a partner of Capital Area Food Bank for several years, and oh gosh, there goes my dog in the background. We recognize as a company that sells groceries and helps feed people by selling food that it just makes sense for us to also help feed people who may not be able to pay for their meals as easily. And so hunger is, the initiative that we are most invested in and most devoted to. We care about our whole community, but this is our primary focus.
Austin, you're back?
Yes. Is this any better?
Much better. Much
Okay,
better. It's
good.
excellent. Yeah, because we definitely needed to hear from you because of the great work that the Capital Area Food Bank has been doing. One of the questions was, just about the need. What has changed, since COVID compared to, I mean, you all have been providing food forever since you've been in existence. So, I mean, how did that, well, one, I want you to describe the need in the DC region.
Sure. Hopefully you heard this, but we've seen nearly the rate of food insecurity double over the span of a year. And we're hearing from our partners and our clients that those who have been hit most are individuals who worked in industries that were immediately impacted by COVID. So the service sector, hospitality, retail. And we're also aware of our neighbors who have been disproportionately impacted by COVID. So African Americans, Latinx persons, households with single mothers and young people. And we're even hearing from our now clients who were once donors of the food bank or even volunteers who now find themselves in need. How that translates into food distribution, in 2020, we distributed 55 million meals. That's an average of 1 million meals per week, which is double the 30 million meals we distributed the year prior. So the need has just been tremendous. And we're just thankful for partners like Safeway, because we would not be able to continue the work without their generosity.
I'm curious too, Austin, about access. I know that I think the Capital Area Food Bank also provides food to food banks. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
And particularly in churches. But with how has COVID impacted that relationship?
That's a great question. So we typically distribute and get food out into the community through our network. We are the primary food provider for hundreds of nonprofit agencies. That includes churches, faith-based organizations, but then also Martha's Table, Bread for the City, So Others Might Eat, Miriam's Kitchen. If there's an agency providing food to those in need, they're likely a partner of ours. But what we saw in March is that many of our partners, especially the smaller ones, it just wasn't safe for them to continue operating. And so that left significant gaps to access, whether it's in location or frequency across our network, across all 8 wards. And so we've engaged what we call temporary partners. This has been, and they have been critical to our response. This has been a mix of, mutual aid groups, hospitals, health clinics, really anyone who has stepped up and said, we want to address the need we see in our community. If you get us the provisions, we'll make sure the food gets to our neighbors. And we've had about 20 to 25 of those partners come on board, and many of them have now become network partners.
Excellent. I'm just wondering too, because now that it looks like we may be seeing the light at the far end of a tunnel. I mean, it still may be another year. But were there any lessons learned either from Safeway or for the Capital Area Food Bank that, I mean, we all were caught off guard as it relates to this pandemic. And you all already had solutions in place, but what may have changed or what will change going forward?
Question 2.
Beth, you can take it first.
So what lessons have we learned? Well, I think as an industry, and I can't speak on behalf of the whole grocery industry, we really had to adapt and pivot. And I, as a member of, the Safeway team, I handle public affairs and have the opportunity to see how our whole operation works. And I have been just incredibly impressed at how quickly and how effectively our stores adapted to the pandemic crisis. Supermarkets are essential businesses and required to stay open. We're there to feed our communities. And so there was no opportunity not to operate. And we had to adapt and provide safety protocols and PPE items. And we were among the first businesses that really tested out and figured out what would be needed to make our business run efficiently and effectively, but also safely for our customers and our employees. And so it was trial by fire, but I think the industry did an amazing job to really adapt and make things work in a very challenging environment. And we're not through the pandemic yet. So many of us feel so hopeful now that we have vaccines, and our stores are actually administering vaccines. So we're really close to that. So it really feels hopeful, but we do have a ways to go before life is going to return to normal. And so we all still have to be vigilant and still be adapting.
Exactly. And Austin, one of the first things, I know that the Capital Area Food Bank distributes food, but one of the first things that went off the shelves were the toilet paper and the paper towels, and particularly the things that you needed to clean and disinfect. Did they end up in packages in any way with the food as well, or was that one of the ways you all pivoted, or how did you?
Sure. I echo Beth's comments around pivoting. We were able to provide some non-food items, but most of our focus was on addressing the emergency food needs of our clients. And I would say one of the primary lessons has been a reinforcement of our belief that food can enable brighter futures. So we began our strategy last year and had to, put a few things on hold, but are excited to resume our focus on how can we pair food with other services that address both immediate and longer term needs of our clients. So how can we pair food with healthcare? How can we pair food with workforce development? What is an integral point to insert food to help move our clients from a point of high need to a place of less need? How can we see them make progress along a continuum? And then the re-envisioning of our network. I think the days are gone of clients attending pantries at small churches. Maybe we need to consider this new prototype for a partner.
Interesting. Well, we certainly do want to follow, where you're going. We're going to be doing a series of articles in about a month or so on food insecurity in DC and our other neighbor in Prince George's County. And we'll definitely be reaching out to you all to see how we can create solutions. We want to be a part of developing solutions to the problem, and not to be slight or anything, but how do we make food last? Making sure that we understand meal prep and how to be able to, some people don't like food leftovers, but how do we, with the items that we get, and it happens in our household, how do we create meals that will last for more than a day? Because one of the things I think we all learned is that, we not only did the pandemic mean we had to stretch our dollar, but we also had to stretch our meals. And so I just want to thank both of you all for being a part of the program today, for your sponsorship. And is there anything else that we missed that you might want to add, Beth?
Everyone know that Safeway Foundation's Kick Hunger campaign will take place from March 1st to 31st. And anyone who's interested in making a donation can do so at check stands at their local Safeway stores.
And these are cash donations, right?
It can be, financial donations, but it can be made with a credit card, a debit card, and we also can accept cash and checks as well.
I just
And
didn't.
all 100% of the proceeds will be going to the Capital Area Food Bank in the DC area and the Maryland Food Bank in the Baltimore area.
Great. I just didn't want folks to show up with a bag of groceries and say, this is my donation.
Not this time.
Right. And Austin, is there anything else you want to close out with?
Sure. I'll just say that we recognize that this response is a marathon and not a sprint. And we appreciate, again, thank you, Safeway, for your partnership and your support.
Thank you both. And because of you, another family will have another meal to eat, and many more meals to eat, hopefully. So we appreciate you being with us today.
Thank you for the opportunity to share.
All right. We'll talk to you again real soon. All righty.